What's going on, guys? Welcome to All Gen Gamers Live. This is episode 86. I'm one of your hosts, John Gamester81. I'm here with Jason Heine, the EMU Review. What's up, Jason?
What up, guys? How are you doing? Welcome to the live stream.
We're also here with Pete Dorr. Pete, what's going on, man?
Not too much. And I just realized that a lot of people didn't get to hear Jason's wonderful new intro on the live show because the ad blocked it out.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's right. I forgot about that. It plays like a 30-second ad, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. And we are also joined by our new host, Jason Metal Jesus Rocks. What's up, man?
Hey, man. How's it going? It's good to be here.
Great to have you on.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. It's very cool.
So I understand, Jason, you were at Vancouver Retro Gaming Expo.
Yeah,
recently,
this last weekend, it was the first annual Retro Gaming Expo that they had in Vancouver. So we piled in a car and drove up there.
I know Johnny was really excited about it and talking about it and really pumping it up. And tell us about the experience. What went down?
Yeah, so the expo was put on by Brian, who runs Game Deals, and that's a small retro gaming shop in Vancouver. And he's been wanting to put this on, I guess, for a while, and he actually made it happen. And so me, my wife, and Drunken Master Paul and his wife Liz hopped in a car and from Seattle and drove up there on early Saturday morning, crossed the border, had our passports, and first off, I got to say, actually, I love Vancouver. I don't know if you guys have gone before, but that's a fantastic city. I absolutely really love it.
It's a really cool city.
Yeah, it feels to me very European for some reason. It just has this cool vibe.
It's kind of older, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The city and town, definitely.
Well, it's got like a definitely Asian influence too. I mean, there's like huge Chinatown and it's very ethnic, which is good.
And I will point out, my wife pointed this out actually, that the women in Vancouver, hot. Seriously.
Nice. I love how your wife points that out.
Oh yeah, totally. If you ever hang out with her, you'll know exactly. She's very silly. But so the Retro Gaming Expo, it was really cool. We actually stayed in a hotel, the Met, that was literally just kitty corner to the expo, and had a lot of the things that you would expect with an expo. They had vendors in there. There was a bunch of panel discussions, and I was part of one of those. They very graciously asked me to be part of a panel about having your own YouTube channel and things like that. So I was on there with Johnny and also Fraser from Awesome Games, I believe it's Gaming Awesome.
Awesome Video Games, or Video Games Awesome.
Video Games Awesome.
Something that's awesome. Yeah.
He has two shows, yeah.
I love how he reverses those things. It was so funny. So that was really cool, actually. That was an hour-long panel that we did, and we got to show off some of our kind of highlights from our channels. And Johnny actually showed off an extended section of his movie, and that was really cool to see.
Nice.
And yeah, it was pretty neat. And then they also had, let's see. Oh, yeah, that's right. They had Nerd Burlesque at about 9:30 at night. And one thing you got to know about this venue that Brian set up with this is that they allow alcohol in there. And so if you can imagine an all-day event, and by 9:30 at night, people were having a good time, and out comes burlesque dancers dressed up as Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog. It was actually a lot of fun. And so that day went quite long. We were very tired the next day, but just had a complete blast. So
I did watch Johnny's video, and I noticed the beers in your hand. I think everyone had a beer except for Fraser.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually pretty nervous too, because I'd never been on a panel, and so I was really glad they had alcohol, because I was just a little nervous because I'm not used to being in front of 250 people, trying to talk about my channel and stuff. I was actually really glad that my buddy Drunken Master Paul went up there, because he is a total natural when it comes to this stuff. He's actually been on television before. He was on the Food Network for many years, and so it was nice to have him there to sort of break the ice and keep the flow going, and he was hilarious.
Wait, Food Network. So you mean, did he have a show on Food Network?
He was on Ace of Cakes for 3 years. I don't know if you've ever heard of that show.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of it. I never used to really watch it, but I definitely know of that show.
Yeah, he was the Cake Ninja on there. He used to live back in D.C., and he would drive up to where that bakery was, and he was one of the guys on the television show. And he was on there for the first, maybe it's the first 3 seasons. So actually,
wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, if you catch it on cable, he still gets recognized for that too, because that was such a popular show. So he's a good guy to have around whenever there's a crowd, because it doesn't faze him at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
So was it like a one-day event, or?
It was, and it went from 11 to 11, I believe. So it was a full day, and Brian had packed it full of all sorts of stuff. So it was pretty cool. They did a panel on the crash of the 1980s. There was a bunch of stuff, so it was cool. He did a great job.
When it comes to like the tables that they set up in the booths, I know that this whole retro Vancouver Expo only had like it capped out at 450 because that was sold out. That's the most they can fit, I think, or something like that. How was it in terms of like, besides the panels, like stuff to buy, like tables that they had set up? What was going on besides the panels?
Yeah, so I think you're right that it held either 450 or 500 people total, and it was completely sold out. And actually, the venue it didn't feel full, so you weren't standing shoulder to shoulder with people. And I think they probably could have packed in another 200 people throughout the day. So there was definitely room for more people to go. As far as the tables and the vendors, that would be the one area where I wasn't exactly blown away. I actually went I'd actually saved money to go up there and just, spend a couple $100 trying to fill in some of my collection. And I only ended up buying one game because there just wasn't a lot there. And what was there seemed like it's not overpriced, but it certainly was on the top end of, essentially what I could probably get here in Seattle at a regular store. So I didn't feel like there was a lot of deals to be made. So that would be my only sort of disappointment.
There wasn't a big variety either of tables, because I know I looked at like the vendors that would be there, the list of vendors, and it didn't really seem like there was too much. Like, how many vendors would you say were actually selling actual games there?
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 tables. And that may sound like a lot, but actually those tables didn't have a lot of stuff on them. I guess, for me, because last year was Seattle's first Retro Gaming Expo, and that vendor room was packed, and it was packed high. And so I'm not sure exactly why Vancouver didn't have quite the turnout for that, but coming from the Seattle one definitely had. I actually spent several $100s last year at the Seattle.
When is the Seattle one?
They just announced it, and I want to say June, sometime in June. But I don't know any details about it.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We got to remember, though, it's the first year.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's only going to continue to grow from there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure each year it'll get bigger and bigger.
It will. And even the Seattle one wasn't perfect. It was actually in a hotel, and it was a little awkward to kind of get around in. So, there's always room for improvement. I also think the first year you do any of that stuff, you're never sure exactly how many tickets you're going to sell, how many people will show up. So it's always better, I think, to be conservative, and then next year you go for it. And then the last thing I was going to say is that I did spend quite a bit of time hanging out with Johnny and Robman and his fiancee Kim. That was really cool. They were very gracious to us and took us around, and we had dinner with them, and it was a nice time all around.
What'd you guys do?
Pretty much we just kind of stuck around. We didn't actually get into a car, so we kind of just walked around the pier. When it was St. Patrick's Day, and so every bar was packed. So we actually got into a bar, took over a back section of the bar, and had great food and even more beer. And and then after that, we went back and watched the burlesque show. And then later on in that night, we went to another bar in the back room and kind of hung out there and talked. And yeah, it was really cool. It was cool to spend some time with him and kind of get in his head a little bit and see where he's at and what he wants to do and all that sort of stuff. So
nice.
Make sure to follow us, the All Gen Gamers podcast, on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and in iTunes. And don't forget about those iTunes ratings, guys. We appreciate those. And for all other info, links, and our forum, please visit www.allgengamers.com.